Hey, good morning, friends. It's the Loopy Project guy. I check in with the latest update of the off-the-grid cabin. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll start off this morning saying hello to our supervisor. Hey, Wiley. He's checking out the hummingbirds flying around at the moment. Wiley, what's up? Say good morning. Okay, well, he's focused on other business. Well, what we're going to walk through this morning is the installation of the electrical system and how it's coming along. So making good progress there. What I'm going to show you is a series of where the electricity is coming from and where it goes to the point of usage. So starting out, if you look at the top of the cabin, I've installed 7 electric panels up there. And we've got 2 sets of 3 in series. The last panel is not actually hooked up at the moment, and I'm thinking about putting that in parallel, but haven't decided yet. But each of those panels draws about 365 watts. And so I've got 2 sets of 3 panels each feeding an inverter. And I'll show you the inverter momentarily. And the reason I've got them in 2 sets of 3 is because the inverter can't handle more voltage than what 3 individual panels can supply in series. So when they're all up and running when the sun's at a peak angle to the panels, we should be drawing somewhere in the area of 2200 watts. And those panels then will be sending direct current electric into our inverter system, which I'll go and show you where that is now. Beautiful morning here in the hill country of Texas. So we're entering now the utility room of our building, and here you can see an inverter is what it's called. And the purpose of the inverter is it takes direct current from the solar panels and it feeds the electricity down into this battery bank. The battery bank is 4 12-volt batteries hooked up in series, which makes the battery bank capable of 48 volts. And the inverter then feeds the electricity being drawn from the solar panels into the battery bank. And then it also serves a purpose of drawing energy out of either the solar panels or the batteries, converts it to alternating current, and sends it to a switch box that I have here for sending power through the cabin. So in this case, I've set up a total of 7 circuits. Each of these circuits is 110 volt circuit. These are also 110, and this one I've crossed the 2 hot wires to make a 220 volt circuit for one of my water pumps that I can plug in outside. So this is a distribution box that I use for it. So I'll walk a little bit through some of the details of electricity as we go through the cabin. You can see a series of outlets low to the ground. I have 3 electric plugs in the utility room. Out here in the living area, I've got 1 electric plug kind of high. That'll be used for plugging in iPhones and other small items like that sit on top of a tabletop here. Plug in the corner behind the box here, another plug on the floor here, and then I've got 3 light switches on my outside wall, and those light switches control 3 can lights that I've put up in the ceiling here outside. So in the dark of the night when you want to eat outside or cook, that's what those will be used for. I have 1 other porch light that'll be installed here above the door, so when you want just softer light but enough light to exit the building and go into the bathroom and back, you'll have enough light. Or if you just want to sit out here and enjoy nature with a bottle of wine with some light, that's the purpose of that. We'll have a ceiling fan eventually and light here in the middle of the living room, and that's what this wire hanging down is for. A couple of outlets in the bottom of the bedroom, so each set of bunks will have an electrical plug to plug in a fan or a cell phone, things like that. Here is a switch that controls a can light that I've installed up here. Thought about putting a fan in the bedroom here as well. However, that becomes quite a hazard when people are climbing ladders or in the top bunk. So we elected against that and just put a light in here. What we've done, however, to make sure there's air movement is because it's small enough, we're not too worried about noise. I'll have a couple of open vents at the top of the wall, above the door, and in this point in the wall, and that will allow airflow to go into the bedroom area without much restriction. So then if we move into the bathroom, I've got one light switch here that will operate a light above the vanity. It will also turn on a fan that I haven't installed yet above the toilet, and then another light that will be above the shower. One other thing about the circuit, I have connected all of the external electrical outlets as well as this one bath outlet to a GFCI plug, and you can see that here as a safety feature for the outside plugs and the bathroom plug, which are more susceptible to getting water into them. So the wiring itself, it takes a little bit of time to do this. You set up the electrical boxes first and then run the wires to them. And it is important that you do a nice clean job with the wires. And oh, by the way, in case you ever need to get in those circuits again, make sure you leave enough slack at each junction box, so if you pull something out and put something else back in, you won't be able to get back there unless you rip off the side of the wall. So leave enough slack in your wire to give you a little bit to work with in the event you ever need to get into those boxes again. As far as running the wire up in the ceiling, I tried to keep the space between the rafters open so I could install my insulation in there. So you'll see the bundles of wires are towards the outside wall where there won't be insulation, or I ran the wires down the edge of a rafter so that insulation could go inside those rafters without being blocked and easy to roll them out. So I think that's about it from the electrical side. I do have two external plugs on this side of the cabin I did install for utility purposes. There's one 110 volt outlet. I've got another 110 wire ran here to a separate circuit for the mini split, which will be installed later. And then I do have this 230 volt circuit, 30 amp circuit for another water pump. So that's where we're at in the project, folks. Electrical system does take a little bit of time, and again, as we've talked about in the rest of this project, you really want to take your time in the design phase, make sure you have everything thought out and have all the circuits that you really want to put in, because after the project's complete, it'll be quite a hassle to go ahead and put in more electrical circuits. So I think that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. This is the Loopy Project Guy signing out.